the middle of the ocean, Tami wakes up on her sinking boat, fighting not only for survival, but to uncover the heartbreaking truth about what really happened to her boyfriend. The movie begins with Tami waking up to find the boat she's on sinking into the ocean. She quickly starts searching for her boyfriend, Richard, but discovers he's missing and breaks down in tears. 5 months earlier, Tami arrived at a port on a French island, planning to move to the country. While working on a boat cleaning job, a man named Richard shows up with his boat, and Tami helps him secure his boat. The following day, Tami notices Richard working on his boat again and brings him some ice. They strike up a conversation, and Richard invites her to dinner. Tami agrees, on the condition that it will be a vegetarian meal. That evening, Richard tells Tami about his solo travels, sharing the challenges and loneliness he faces. Despite her lack of experience, Richard suggests she steer his boat the next day. Tami surprises him with her natural talent for sailing, and the two enjoy their time together. Their adventures continue as Richard takes Tami to a waterfall. She plays a prank by diving underwater and hiding, making him think she's in trouble. When he jumps in to check on her, he realizes she's fine. Later, while sitting together on the seashore, their connection deepens, and they share their first kiss. Back in the present, Tami attempts to send a distress signal using the boat's radio, but no one responds. Feeling desperate, she notices the lifeboat is missing and decides to search for it. Using binoculars, she spots the lifeboat in the distance. Tami ties herself to the boat with a rope and carefully makes her way to the lifeboat. There, she finds Richard, who is alive but injured. She brings him back on board, tends to his injuries, and reassures him that they will find a way to survive. Before the accident, during a romantic dinner, Richard asks Tami if she would like to travel the world with him, and Tami eagerly accepts his offer. Later, while shopping for groceries, they discuss their travel plans. As they leave the supermarket, they run into a couple who are Richard's friends. The couple offers Richard a deal. If he sails their boat back to California, they will pay him $10,000 and provide a first-class plane ticket for his return. Richard agrees to the deal on the condition that they provide 2 tickets so he can bring Tami along. Back in the present, Richard's condition worsens, and Tami does her best to treat his injuries. After calculating their position, she realizes they have drifted far north. Feeling hopeless, she fears they might not survive, but Richard tries to comfort her and encourages her to stay hopeful. After studying the map, they determine their best chance of survival is to reach Hawaii. However, they know it's a high-risk move because missing Hawaii would leave them stranded with no other reachable destination. Despite the uncertainty, they decide to take the chance. The day before the accident, the couple spends time on a luxurious boat owned by Richard's friends. They discuss their future plans, and Richard explains that the payment for the boat delivery will fund their travels for a year. Tami writes a letter to her mother, informing her about her plans and promising to return home soon. Back to the present, Tami and Richard find some food and water, but it is insufficient for the entire journey. 5 days into their drift, they realize they have gone slightly off course, and their food supplies are almost depleted. They are forced to fish to avoid starvation, but Tami, being a vegetarian, refuses to eat it, as it goes against her principle. Richard insists that survival is more important than her ideals, and she reluctantly agrees. Gathering her courage, Tami dives into the water to catch fish. But her attempts fail, and she climbs back onto the boat, crying in frustration and despair. 18 days into the drift, Tami searches through the boat and discovers a bottle of wine. As they drink, Richard confesses that he wishes they had never met, believing it would have spared her from this harrowing ordeal. Tami disagrees, saying she cherishes their time together and will carry these memories with her forever. Later that night, Tami experiences a hallucination. In her vision, a massive ship passes close to them, but fails to stop. Realizing it was only a delusion, she and Richard become even more demoralized. Despite everything, Richard finds a glimmer of positivity in the fact that they are still alive, even after enduring dehydration and immense challenges. Flashing back to the day of the disaster, Tami and Richard receive a warning over the radio about a storm centered 1,000 miles away. They decide to alter their course as a precaution, but hours later, they find themselves caught in the heart of the storm. Battling the relentless ocean, Richard grabs the emergency locator transmitter to report their location. As the storm worsens, he tells Tami to go below deck, fearing the boat may capsize. Reluctantly, she obeys, but is violently thrown across the cabin by the waves. Meanwhile, Richard, on deck, is knocked unconscious and dragged into the ocean's depths. The flashback ends, and Tami awakens to a shocking realization. Richard was never truly with her after the accident. She had been hallucinating his presence as a coping mechanism. She had faced the entire tragedy alone, but the illusion of Richard gave her the strength to survive. Determined, she dives into the water again to catch fish. This time, she succeeds and eats it despite her vegetarian beliefs. Soon after, a small bird lands near her, a mysterious and unexpected sign of hope. Using binoculars, Tami spots dry land in the distance. Seizing the opportunity, she uses a flare gun to signal a passing ship. The crew notices her signal, and she is finally rescued. A few days later, Tami revisits the boat and reflects on her time with Richard. Looking at their photos and reliving their happy memories, overcome with emotion, she breaks down in tears. She returns to the beach, where they shared their first kiss, and leaves a flower in the water to honor Richard's memory. From that day forward, Tami never stopped sailing, finding solace and strength in the ocean that once tested her resilience.